You ever move somewhere thinking it's going to be your sanctuary, your fresh start, only to find out it's a battlefield dressed up in picket fences? That's what happened when I bought the house on Maplewood Lane, a quiet little corner in Pinecrest Grove, a place that promised peace after 26 years of running into fires as a firefighter. I was done with the sirens, the smoke, the weight of lives I couldn't always save. I just wanted a porch, a cold beer, and a big old sycamore tree that came with the house, its branches sprawling like it was hugging the whole damn yard. I'm Jack Riley, retired at 52, knees creaky from too many ladder climbs, shoulder messed up from a roof collapse in '08. My son, Tommy, said I needed a place to breathe, and Maplewood seemed perfect. Tidy lawns, kids on bikes, neighbors who nodded but didn't pry. But then I met Susan Caldwell, the HOA president, who walked like she owned the street, clipboard always in hand, her smile sharp enough to cut glass. I didn't know it yet, but that sycamore, my pride and joy, was about to become her personal vendetta. It started small like it always does. 2 weeks after I moved in, I found a crisp envelope on my door citation for non-compliant garden structures. Apparently, my zucchini trellis was an eyesore, violating some obscure rule in the HOA's 50-page handbook. I laughed, thinking I've pulled people out of burning buildings, and now I'm in trouble for vegetables. I trimmed it back, not because I cared, but because I figured, live and let live, right? Big mistake. Susan wasn't about harmony, she was about control. She started circling my place like a shark, her fluffy dog, Biscuit, yapping at her heels. She'd stop, squint at my mailbox, snap pictures when she thought I wasn't looking. Then came the fines: $50 for a faded mailbox, $75 for excessive hose usage because I watered my lawn on a Tuesday instead of a Thursday. I'd seen worse than her in my day: gang fights, arsons, collapsing warehouses, so I let it slide, kept my head down, told myself she'd get bored. But then she set her sights on the sycamore. I was raking leaves one morning when she marched up with her minions, Greg Harper, a guy who treated the HOA bylaws like scripture, and Linda, who nodded at Susan's every word like a bobblehead. "That tree's a hazard, Mr. Riley," Susan said, pointing like she was accusing it of crime. "It drops branches in storms, and it's too close to the sidewalk." I wiped sweat off my brow, leaned on my rake. "It's healthy, Susan. Had it checked by an arborist before I bought the place. It's not going anywhere." Her eyes narrowed, that fake smile twitching. "We'll see about that," she said, and I felt it, that old firefighter's instinct. The air was about to catch fire. The next week, a neon yellow notice showed up on my door, summoning me to an HOA meeting at Susan's house. A beige monstrosity with perfect hedges and little flags that screamed catalog perfection. I went, not because I wanted to, but because I thought maybe, just maybe, I could reason with her. Stupid move. Inside, it was a tribunal: Susan, Greg, Linda, and 2 others, all staring like I'd spray painted my house neon pink. Susan flicked on a TV, and there was a slideshow of my crimes: my garden, my firewood pile, my sycamore, zoomed in like evidence at a murder trial. "Pinecrest Grove values aesthetic unity," she droned, "and your property is disrupting our vision." I sat there, arms crossed, letting her talk, but when she got to the tree, I'd had enough. "That sycamore's on my land," I said. "I mow that strip, I pay the drainage fee. You've got no claim." She smirked. "It's a safety issue, Jack. That branch dented Linda's car last storm." Linda looked at her shoes, and I knew that dent was older than my truck. I stood up. "You want to keep snapping pictures of my yard, Susan? Get a warrant." And I walked out. The fines kept coming: $200 for landscape obstruction, $150 for noncompliance. I fought back, got city records proving the tree was mine, hired an arborist to certify it was sound. But Susan didn't care about facts. She wanted me to bend. Then one day, I came home to find a white spray-painted ring around my sycamore's trunk, a stake next to it with a tag. Marked for removal, HOA directive. My blood boiled. I called the city, the cops, my old fire marshal buddy, Mike Torres. Sounds like you got a dictator in khakis, Mike said, half laughing. But I wasn't laughing. I started documenting everything: photos, videos, timestamps. I wasn't paranoid, just prepared. Things got uglier. One morning, I woke to the rumble of machinery. Susan was out there, directing a crew, with a bulldozer ready to tear out my tree. "This is for safety," she called, all fake concern. I stepped in front of the machine, phone recording. "You're trespassing, Susan. Touch that tree, and I'm pressing charges." Her face twisted. "You're obstructing justice," she snapped. I stared down the driver. "Felony vandalism's a hell of a rap sheet for your company." He backed off, the crew packed up, and Susan stormed away, hissing, "This isn't over." It wasn't. 2 weeks later, I came home from the hardware store, and my heart stopped. My sycamore was gone, not just gone, but hacked down, sprawled across Maplewood Lane, blocking the whole damn road. Sawdust everywhere, chainsaw marks clean as a surgeon's cut. And there was Susan, sipping a coffee, smirking from her driveway. "You did this," I said, voice shaking. She shrugged. "The HOA deemed it unsafe. Had to come down." I pointed at the road. "You dropped it here on purpose." She sipped her drink. "Unfortunate side effect. Maybe plant a shrub next time." I was shaking, not just with anger, but with grief. That tree was my anchor, my quiet after the chaos of my old life. And she'd killed it to prove a point. I called everyone: cops, city arborist, Mike, my lawyer, Ellen, who I'd once pulled from a kitchen fire. The police called it a civil matter, but Mike was livid. "She's blocked the only way in or out," he said. "No fire truck, no ambulance, nothing's getting through." I filed a hazard report, a trespassing complaint, sent footage to the local news. But Susan? She doubled down, filed some fake emergency safety form claiming the tree was leaning. Her expert was her brother-in-law, a guy with a landscaping side hustle and no license. Then the storm came. Heavy clouds, the kind that make your bones ache. I stood on my porch, watching the sky darken, the fallen sycamore still blocking the road. Susan was out with Biscuit, all smug in her bright raincoat. "You might want to move that tree before it gets worse," I called. She sneered. "Not my problem anymore." I shook my head. "County says it's still on you, Susan. They're investigating." Her jaw tightened, but she turned away. That night, the sky broke open, lightning, wind, rain like a wall. Around midnight, I heard sirens, real ones, screaming up the hill, then stopping. I threw on my boots, grabbed a flashlight, and ran out. 2 fire trucks were stuck at the base of the road, one jackknifed in the mud, the other blocked by my tree. A firefighter shouted, "Fire at 112 Maplewood. Flames through the roof." My stomach dropped. 112 was Susan's house. I ran up the hill, rain soaking me, smoke thick in the air. Her mansion was a torch, flames roaring, windows exploding. Susan stood in her yard, screaming, "Biscuit's inside. Do something." But the trucks couldn't get through. The crew tried a back lane, barely wide enough, tearing through fences to reach her. By the time they got water on the fire, it was too late. Her house was gone. She turned to me, eyes wild. "You did this," she shrieked. I didn't flinch. "You blocked the road, Susan. You built this fire." The next morning, news vans swarmed. HOA blockade, delays, firefighters hit the internet with clips of the stuck trucks and Susan yelling. Neighbors started talking stories of her fines, her threats, her petty power trips. The Wilkersons, an elderly couple, couldn't get their ambulance for dialysis because of the tree. Kids missed school. Mail stopped. And Susan? She hid behind her safety initiative, but the truth was out. I sued her and the HOA property destruction, endangering public safety, the works. Mike's report sealed it. The tree was a deliberate hazard. At the next HOA meeting, the room was packed, everyone done with Susan's reign. I show my evidence, the fake invoice, the videos, the city's report. The crowd erupted. Greg tried to defend her, but even he went quiet. By the end, Susan was voted out, and I was voted in as president. Not because I wanted it, but because someone had to stop the bleeding. We dug deeper, found $90,000 in fake vendor payments, money Susan and her cronies pocketed. The DA charged her with embezzlement, fraud, property destruction. Her mugshot was everywhere, the queen of Maplewood Lane, dethroned. She moved away. No one helped her pack. We used the recovered money to fix sidewalks, build a playground, plant a community garden where my sycamore once stood. A new live oak went in, small but stubborn, with a plaque, for the tree that fell and the truth that rose. Sitting on my porch now, watching that sapling grow, I think about how it started with a zucchini vine and ended in flames. Susan wasn't just a bully, she was a symptom, a warning of what happens when power goes unchecked. I stepped down as president last month, left the HOA with new rules. Open votes, no anonymous complaints, real accountability. Pinecrest Grove feels alive again, kids play, flags fly, people wave. But I keep my binder of evidence, just in case. Here's the thing, this isn't just my story. It's every neighborhood where someone thinks they can rule with a clipboard. So, tell me in the comments, ever dealt with an HOA tyrant? How'd you fight back? Or maybe you think Susan got what she deserved or didn't. Let's hear it, because one voice, one stand can change everything.